Geek Vibes Live is rated G for geek.
There you go. Hi.
From Geek Vibes Nation, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's so amazing to speak with you. So I put my video up right now. Awesome. Well, all right, Zetna. As I said, my name is T.
It's breaking up a little bit, just so you know. I'm not sure if you can hear me okay. You're breaking.
I can hear you perfect. Oh shoot, that's weird. I was just having good audio just 2 seconds ago. Can you hear me better now?
I can make out what you're saying. We could try, but it's just breaking up. But we can whatever you guys think.
Let me try stopping the video, and maybe that'll make my audio better. Can you hear me better now?
It's still breaking up, but I'm fine to do whatever you guys think.
Okay, well, I can hear you just fine. So I just wanted to say, first of all, congratulations on such an amazing reaction to Curse on Netflix, which just released this past week. I was able to get early screeners for it, and I actually just rewatched the first few episodes last night. So you directed the first 2 episodes for Curse. I have to ask, what was it about Curse that at first drew you in?
Well, it was really the script. You know, when I first got sent the script and I read it, I was excited that this was, you know, the King Arthur legend and a legend that I've been fascinated by, you know, since I was a kid, like so many people, but that it was taking this fresh perspective on the legend, I thought was just such a great idea. And I was compelled by you know, it was like such a page turner for me when I got the script that I really wanted to tell the story.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've watched the show. I'm listening to the audiobook right now. It's so compelling. It comes from a completely different perspective than we're used to with the whole King Arthur, you know, folklore here. So this was a 10-episode series on Netflix, and the beginning is really important. Were there challenges for you to kind of really start everything in this show?
You know, because it's the, you know, the very beginning of the series, and doing the first 2 episodes, you are, you know, setting the world and the tone. And so many challenges, kind of countless challenges to meet, but an incredible opportunity for me. And as a director, it's the kind of show I would want to do, you know, in terms of such world building, such a chance to collaborate with Tom Wheeler and Frank Miller and all the wonderful department heads that we put together. You know, it was all the decisions that have to be made in the macro level about, you know, the visual style and the visual language, to, you know, the details of the props and the weapons and everything in between. So an enormous challenge, but a really thrilling one.
And certainly paid off in many ways. When you were, first of all, how long did it take to direct those two episodes? Because so much happened in them.
Yeah, you know, it was a long prep process because, again, it was the beginning of the launch of production for the series. So a lot of prep, you know, there was months and months of preparation, of scouting and rehearsal and actors training and just getting ready to start production, because it was straight to series. So all 10 episodes were going one after the other. So that process was pretty long. And then the actual shooting of it took a couple of months. We had a break in between, and you know, weather and challenges of finding locations, and the scope of the project kind of dictates how many days you're shooting. So it's been on and off a little bit over 1.5 years for me.
Oh wow! So it took that long.
Well, yeah, a lot of that was on the post-production side.
Right.
But from the moment I started working on the show until now, yeah. But it was just, a months for prep and then months for production.
What would you say was your favorite scene to film when it came to those first 2 episodes?
There's so many. It's so funny. It's a really tricky question for me to answer because I love those 2 episodes. They're like my babies. But I think that one scene in particular is the scene with Nimue when she's fighting the wolves and she's standing on the rock. And it was such an important scene for us in terms of the storytelling. And one that when we were shooting it, it was really one of those moments where we felt like, oh, there she is, standing, holding the sword on the rock, rain falling down on her. It just felt really special.
I particularly love that scene because her sword gets stuck in the rock at some point, which feels, very much of the tale that we know of King Arthur and the legend of the sword. Was that initially in the script, or was that something that you had thought of while you were directing it?
Yeah, no, that was in it, and we were really excited because we wanted to play off of that idea, obviously from the legend, and how we shot it and how we wanted her to struggle a bit to get it out. And it was really fun to mine that moment for all we could.
And when you were kind of directing these first 2 episodes, some scenes are really so bright and wonderful and others are so dark and ominous. How did you find it to kind of be able to go back and forth with those tones, but do it so well that it never felt as if it never felt like those moments didn't belong in the same episode together?
That's so good to hear. Thank you, because that's a big part of it. You want it to feel cohesive. You want it to feel like you're watching, a 10-hour movie, and then when you start to break it down, the 2 hours want to feel like its own thing, and a sequence wants to feel cohesive. So that idea of the different palettes and the different visual language for different settings with things that we talked about early on. And again, I had such brilliant people to work with, my DP, my production designer, all the department heads, so wonderful. And we talked about wanting Nimue's world, especially in the beginning, when it's more hopeful and the dark forces sort of haven't invaded that space, wanting it to feel like nature was alive and vibrant and the green's really green and her world really grounded, but yet really beautiful and magical in that way and colorful. And then really wanting to go there the opposite way when we were dealing with the darker forces and wanting to push, the visuals in both of those directions.
Yeah, the visuals were just gorgeous in this show. I feel that they definitely trump a lot of other fantasy, medieval sort of shows out there. Was there any scene that was originally, say, in the script that you found didn't translate very well in the live action capacity?
Oh, interesting. I think that the script, it was such a long process and working on the script, I'm sure there were things that change. There are always things that change. I can't really put my finger on anything right now, probably because it's been a while since I dug into those first 2 scripts on the page. But I think ultimately what happens is when you have the written words, like any other project, when you start to work on the material and you start to imagine the movie in your head, and then you start to figure out how you want to shoot it and how really the story demands that you shoot it, how it makes most sense. When you hit up against something that doesn't translate, then if you have great collaborators like Tom and Frank were so wonderful, then you talk through it and you come up with the solutions that make it visual, that make it make sense. And those are sort of endless conversations that you have always in pre-production and when you're working.
And so Tom Wheeler and Frank Miller were very present while you were directing these first 2 episodes.
Yeah, they were such amazing collaborators in terms of the pre-production process. Just really open, loved what we were thinking about doing, loved the ideas, the visual language we were setting up, really involved and really great collaborators and our co-creators. And then during production, there was that wonderful balance of being present but not obtrusive, like just cheerleading us on to do the best work we all could, and being there to collaborate if we had an issue or needed to figure something out or had a different idea, but really in the best possible way, let us do the work. And they were so present and just great collaborators in the way you want writers and creators to be.
That's so wonderful to hear, and I certainly feel like it translated very well.
Oh, good. Yeah, really, really great. Like, you think it's just a great working relationship, feel really lucky to have had that.
What would you say is kind of the difference between filming Cursed and other projects? Because you've done a lot of big projects before, a lot of very well-known TV shows. What would you say is kind of the difference in filming Cursed?
Well, I think for me, on a personal level, it was a really big show in terms of scope and scale, and that was really exciting. And although I've done other big shows in terms of, scale and auspices and people that are involved, I think because of the fantasy element and the world building element, that was unique for me. And also because I was doing the first 2 episodes, setting the tone and having a seat at the table and creating the world was really a great opportunity for me.
And now, I know that this is really early, and we don't know if it's renewed yet for a second season, which I really have my fingers crossed and hope that it is. But has there been any talks of the possibility that you would come back for season 2 and direct a couple of episodes if Netflix is so kind and grants a second season?
It's funny. I haven't even really gone there yet. I think because it just came out this weekend, just really excited to have it out in the world and hoping that people are enjoying it and going along for the ride and following, Nimwe's journey. So I think that my head has been wrapped up in that.
I completely understand. I just taking it all in. And as I said, the reception has been really great, which is amazing to always get that. But as someone who is a fan of these old fables and the folklore behind it, first you have watched the entire series, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so if you had an idea, where would you say want Nimwe's journey to go in a second season? If you just had any sort of idea there.
Yeah, again, I think because I've been so immersed in not only my first 2 episodes, but in this first season and watching it again sort of as a fan and watching it unfold, that I haven't really even put that sort of energy into the second season or just thinking about her journey now has been just really great to kind of relive it for me.
And I totally get that. Besides Nimwe, who would you say is your favorite character of the show?
Oh, I have so many. I think I was thinking to someone, they're like my babies. I think I love, Arthur and Merlin and Igraine, and then, Billy Jenkins who plays Squirrel and yeah, Catherine Walker who plays a mom. There's obviously Nimwe. They're just, yeah, I don't, the Weeping Monk. I've always loved that character. I don't know. I don't think I could decide.
I know, I put you on quite the spot there.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like playing favorites with your children. They'll be like, what?
I mean, I would say that probably Merlin is my favorite, but I'm a little biased there.
Yeah, you can say it.
So this tale is told from Nimwe's eyes and all that. How important do you think it is to have a show that has a female lead who she's strong, she's vulnerable, but, she's just relatable, I feel, especially to have Catherine Langford, who is young and up and coming, and people really gravitate to her. So what would you say is the importance there?
I think it's vital. I think to have this character being played by Catherine Langford, who such a wonderful actor and who has taken this role, and I can't imagine anyone else playing Nimwe. I think she is Nimwe. I think that putting this character out into the world is the kind of character that I would have wanted to see as a kid, as a young woman. It's a wonderful coming of age story of this flawed, young woman who's trying to find her place in the world and do what's right for herself, for her people, for her community. And I think it's an amazingly worthy story.
That's amazing. And again, it is such a great show. It translates so well. And I'm just so happy that I got the chance to speak with you. Zetna, I think that we have to wrap up here, but thank you for taking the moment, and congratulations on just how wonderful the show is, especially those first 2 episodes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Zetna.
Great. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Emily. All right, Joanne?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, cool. So that's all wrapped up. I was dying of sweat